Hey everybody. I'm running a little. I mean, I'm on time, but I'm like scrambled to get here. Right. I'll tell you in just a minute. I got to get some water. Stay right there. That's a weird way to start this thing, but right, like 5:37, like 23 minutes ago, the pigs got out. So Danielle shouted at me, the pigs are out. So I had to go get the pigs, and that's our backup food supply, you know. So I had to go run and get the pigs and get them to chase me with the corn all the way to the pig pen, and then I had to do some repairs on the pig pen, and then I had to hurry up and get down here. Hey, Jennifer, hello everybody. So I just got down here and like walked in the door 4 minutes ago. So I'm gonna get some water. Uh, this is purified rainwater through our Berkey, so it's not single-use plastic, you people. So I just got here. I just ran in the door at the last minute. I might seem a little bit out of breath. Anyway, say hi if you're out there. Let me know if you can hear this well, if the audio and video is good, so I'm not wasting my time. But a lot of stuff going on. I finally got to town. I hadn't been to town in a while. I think I said we went to church on Wednesday, but we didn't even really go into town. We just went to church and went home. But my son had gone to hello Tracy, hello Michael, hello everybody. My son had gone to Walmart, or not Walmart, United grocery store a couple of days ago, so I put up pictures of that. But I had not been to town because before that we had a lot of rain, and so we were here for 3 or 4 days because of the rain. Because we usually don't get out when it rains, and it's been raining a lot this year, so I've been kind of home quarantined, and which is like our normal state of existence. You calm down, Clovis Williams. So anyway, so I had not been to town, so today was my first exploration out into the. And I'm sorry about my baseball cap. I normally don't wear a baseball cap. I know it's my wife doesn't like it when I wear it. It's too worldly. But if you saw my hair, you would not think that coronavirus was what was going on. This is hello Tracy. This is a national travesty going on under this hat, and so I don't know what I'm going to do. But anyways, I got to town, went to calm down. I went to Aldi. Aldi had toilet paper. There were people buying a lot of toilet paper, but there was still some, quite a bit there. We went there to United. United had a lot of people in there, but they didn't have any toilet paper. We weren't there to buy toilet paper. We were there for other reasons, mainly my diet necessities, and then and some coffee. And then we went over to Coleman. Coleman's a smaller town nearest us. That's where we do most of our shopping. And Coleman, you wouldn't think anything was going on. People hanging out, shaking hands, talking, saying howdy. I went down the toilet paper aisle. It was bulging. And so we picked up some deer corn there, and then take off the hat. You don't want to see this. It's kind of staying in place because of the hat. But when you're running after a pig, it's like this. It's like this. See? This is pig chasing hair. And so, anyways, we went over to Coleman, and it was like nothing was going on. They had all the paper. They had all the paper towels and toilet papers. And hello, John. And then we went over to Family Dollar, and they had a lot of toilet paper. Coleman seems to be completely oblivious that anything is going on, which is the way I like it. And so I need to close this so I'm not actually like running a copy of myself over here on Facebook. So wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on, and it is starting to look like, and I want to start again because some people have never seen me before, don't know who I am. This is going to be playing on YouTube, and so I'm not a coronavirus expert. I'm not a virus expert. I'm not a mathematician. I'm not a scientist, and therefore I do not comment on those things, other than if somebody asks me my completely ignorant opinion. And so that's not really what I'm here for. What I am an expert at is living without all that stuff. And so having to not go to town, having to living without going to town and making all your own stuff. Um, I can tell you this: as far as falling down on my preparations, I am very because of this diet. I'm not drinking alcohol hardly at all, and so I don't have like a bunch of booze. I don't have any moonshine or whatever. But I can tell you this: I picked up 2 bags of corn today, and if I wanted some, pretty short amount of time, I'd have all I want, and I could make it Scotch, bourbon, whatever. Um, John says, went to the store as planned, and aisles were crazy with people, and shelves were bare in many sections. Toilet paper, paper towels, peanut butter, the entire section of frozen vegetables. Well, that's going to happen, and generally, and I tell some people, you probably drove by 2 or 3 smaller stores that you're not used to going to that probably had stuff. But even if they don't, this is what's happening now. This is what's going on. Doesn't matter why. Doesn't matter what I think about the coronavirus. The coronavirus to me is completely unimportant. It has always been how people react to it, how people act. And so there's a lot of commentary on the internet right now about how dumb people are. Well, I'm telling you what, if you just figured out human nature, you just figured out that you're the dumb one. So people sitting out there going, what's going on? I thought we were better than this. Well, in a room of 5 or 6 people, if you said that, I would go, yeah, we know who the dumb one is. That old Rounders movie Rounders at the very beginning, he says, if you can't figure out within 30 minutes who the sucker is at the table, you're the sucker. So all this kind of shock and surprise that people are going out and buying things or judging them or calling them names is, to me, is just, it's ludicrous, because if you didn't already know that, then you are already ill prepared to live in this world outside of the artificial womb of the societal battery system that you're plugged into. So hopefully sometime before that, maybe years ago, a light went on and you realize that the entire veneer of society is really just paper thin, and it's all held together by basically a social agreement that no one's going to panic. And so the idea that somehow masses of people are running out to get toilet paper. Have you never read a book? I mean, I've written enough of them, but if you've ever read a book about what happens after a collapse, now most of them are really bad because the people writing them have not experienced what it's like to go without things on purpose or to test things. So, but even then, even the books that I've read that in some cases are really good, in some areas are ridiculously wrong about things. Generally, there's a run on the store. That's how the book starts. People are at the store. They don't know something's going on. Suddenly, all of a sudden, there's no water. I think I've told the story a few times. I guess it was like 1988. No, it was later than that, 93 or 94. I had a job where I had to go driving into Mexico, up into northern New Mexico, and I was selling stuff to hotels, equipment and whatnot. And so I got deep into kind of the deserts of New Mexico, and I pulled over to get gas, and there was a big long line at the pumps. And at that time, I was as industrially colonized as anybody else. I had no clue how anything worked. There was always food at the store, etc. I did live on a small farm, so I kind of had an idea how to raise food. But I said, well, what's going on? And they said, well, the power's been out for 4 or 5 hours. I didn't have enough gas to even get to the next town, so I had to sit there and wait because the pumps don't run when there's no electricity. That was the first time the light came on in my head that all things hinge on something else. So we live in a hyper specialized age where everybody is interconnected and your job is connected to somebody else's job, and you may think that you're a freaking genius because you can go to the 58th place of pi or whatever. But that's not the type of intelligence, the practical living intelligence that's needed to evaluate your situation and find out what's going on in the world. So hopefully people are starting to realize that this is what happens. This is what people have been saying for years. Nobody is dumb because they may be dumb already, but they're not dumb because they're going to go out and buy toilet paper. They may have toilet paper after this thing's over and you don't. So And the people I see complaining about it are people who are ill prepared and generally weak, who think that the just-in-time supply system is inviolable somehow. It's mind-numbing to even see how people are reacting to people reacting. If I saw somebody drop $40 million out of a helicopter and I saw a mass of people running out to pick up dollars, I would not be surprised at that. The guy who I would be looking at would be the person who was like, "Oh my God, what's happening? Why are people acting this way?" So that's kind of the thing. John said people's behavior in blackouts, yes, is all I need to see to tell me the social veneer is thin and weak. Honestly, I'm a little concerned about people being victims of home invasion. That's the next step. So what happens when you have this kind of veneer of morality and peace and all those type of things? Now, don't anybody take this as a prediction. I'll repeat, I don't know what's going to happen. But when you have people, when they start to realize that the constraints of law have been removed or are temporarily removed, then they tend to act like the mass, the mob that they are. That doesn't mean that any individual person acting in their own self-interest is stupid or immoral or anything else. Those things have to be made on a case-by-case basis. But you can look at the mass, you can look at the mob, and you can see the mob acting like a mob. Now, if you've never been in a riot, I've been in a riot, and I've been in a lot of things that could be qualified as riots, but I've been in an actual riot, and there is no thinking that's generally going on in the mob or in the riot. But I was in the riot, and I was thinking. So if somebody, on the macro side was looking at this thing, they would say, "Oh, look at this unthinking mass," which is what it was. But if you apply that to every single person in there, there were a lot of people there who were trapped in there. I was in high school, just senior at a football game, and got off a school bus, and there was a riot, and the riot took over everything. Our windows were smashed and all those type of things. So, and that's not the only time I've been in that kind of situation, but that's what happens. And so, but there are individuals who are acting in their own self-interest, using their own money that they earned, that belongs to them, that represents the hours, minutes, and seconds of their lives, and they're buying things that are available because they have a idea. Maybe they don't know anything about preparedness. Maybe they don't know anything about what things they should be buying. But they sit back and they immediately go, "Okay, what would I not want to live without?" Well, that's a different question than what things should you have. If I ask you what things should you have, that's based on some kind of awareness or knowledge of the reality of the layered system. And so people think, I'll tell you what, I was speaking, this was probably around the year 99, 98, and I was speaking at a church in Valencia, California. And I got paid to go out to this church. And don't know why I got called to go speak at this church, but I got called to speak at this church. And it turned into a discussion about Y2K, of which my position from the beginning of hearing about it in 97 to the end was same thing it is about coronavirus. I don't know anything about it. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a computer expert. I believe that people should be prepared all the time. I'm not an event-driven person, so events don't move me. And so here's what I think about preparedness. And somebody, people would raise their hand and they'll say, "Well, how am I going to power my hairdryer?" And I would have to sit there for a minute and then go, "Well, how would you dry your hair if you lived before the hairdryer was invented?" And there's blank. They went blank. They had no idea. Their whole life, they've gotten up in the morning, washed their hair, blow dried their hair. There's no other world in which they've ever imagined a hairdryer not existing. So we can sit back, or somebody else can sit back and look at them and say, "Look at that dummy." But for every person that's looking at that dummy, you got somebody like me looking at you going, "Man, how do you even live that way?" Because I guarantee I'm more prepared than you are. I don't care how much stuff you got stored. I don't care if you have warehouses full of stuff. There's levels. I wrote a long essay one time called "The 5 Levels of Prepper Survivalist Maturity." And at some point, you kind of grow out of all that and you just realize this is a way of life. And that way of life is I should know, I think it was Ben Franklin or somebody said, specialization is for insects. You know, I should know how to butcher an animal. I should know how to grow a garden. I should know how to do a lot. You know, I know how to do a lot of things that most people are never going to know how to do. I know how to make bourbon. I know how to roll cigars. I know how to. I can grow the tobacco from seed, dry it, cure it, which is the hardest part, and roll cigars from it. So for every person that's looking at this lady who, like I saw today in the store, who came walking in and she had her face mask on and she got her cart and she walked up there and she was, um, I'm not going to say she's panicking. She's acting reasonably based on her what she knows. She's ignorant. Ignorant isn't a pejorative. Just means she doesn't know it. She doesn't know what she should be doing. I would have preferred if I had an audience or the ability to talk to her, say get salt, get things like Angstrom Silver or colloidal silver, get things like antibiotics, get things like you know bullets if that's what you think, you know, if that fits within your worldview. There's a lot of things, you know. Butter is a really good thing to have, things that'll store long term. How do you make bourbon? That could be a good question. I don't think we should. We'll talk about that later. But it's really simple. It's basically you just make grain alcohol and then you age it in oak or mesquite. I've done it with mesquite trees right here off the land, and you cut them into coils, so it's like a barrel. It has the surface area of a barrel, and then you roast them. And anyways, people don't want to hear about that right now. Anyways, I'm here, so if you have any questions, I can continue talking about things that I've seen. And I got some things to talk about I've seen today, but type in questions into your little comment section or discussion points or anything you want to talk about, and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. So that was the thing that happened today. And so then I got home and I had these, we got propane because we're about to run out. And that leads into the bunker principle, which is we have a wood burning stove with lots of wood on 40 acres. And but since we have that and we know how to use it, we can use that in an emergency. We have a propane stove. And so we're running out of propane. So we stopped and got propane. No problem there. But I got home, I pulled the propane out, and I went and did some stuff, and one of the cats got into the trunk. And so I come, and the cats, you know, they freak out. I mean, the cats can be, you can call them intelligent creatures, but they don't have human sentience. They're not worried about the coronavirus. They don't sit there and worry about whether or not the plane's going to crash or something like that. So I come walking out of the house, and one of the cat come just bolting out of the trunk. Well, here's the thing. He didn't want to get trapped in there. He didn't have any other thought. He wasn't thinking of all the consequences of everything that could happen. His only thought was get out. And that is an instinct, and that's the same instinct that causes people who've been colonized, and I can describe what colonization is if you need a good working definition of it. But people who have been colonized, this is the life they've lived in. This is the culture that they've lived in. And so they don't know anything else. When I've explained to people what it's like to make things, or shown people how to make things, or my children have shown people how to make butter, make cheese, I mean, from the original product. And I'm not saying everybody has to go do that. I'm just saying if you don't even know that, this is why you see these memes where these people are like, stop killing animals and buy meat at the store where they make it. Yeah, it's easy to sit back and laugh and go, ha ha, that person's stupid. But that person's a product of the culture they live in. That's and so let me back up just a little bit. Heinlein made the quote about insects. Well, that makes sense, which I'm embarrassed to say I did not know, because I'm an avid fan of his. I knew the quote, but I couldn't remember who had made it. My daughter Tracy's Angstrom Silver is available on Amazon. It's low on stock and it's not on Prime, so it will take a while, more than 2 days to arrive. But if you need some, I expect Amazon will get it to you quickest. I ordered some today. And people don't know, if you know what colloidal silver is, colloidal silver's been around for a long time, but colloids, the size, is really kind of too big to accomplish a lot of the things you want, the antibiotic and antiviral effects of it. So look up Angstrom Silver on Amazon. Do you make your own cottage cheese? We've made cottage cheese before, and cottage cheese is really just a process, and it's part of the process in making cheese. And so it's kind of what when you have curds and whey, that's cottage cheese. So in the old nursery rhymes where little Miss Muffet was sitting on her tuffet eating her curds and whey, basically it's cottage cheese. And so if you kind of hung that in a cheesecloth for a while, not the store-bought kind, but I'm saying if you were making cheese, you could hang that in a cheesecloth, the whey will drip out, and then you would have basically what is then a farmer's cheese. And so yes, we have made our own cottage cheese. I don't make it right now because we don't have a currently milkable animal. We have a milkable animal, but that is not fresh. Put it that way. Man, I wonder if some people are just buying tons of cases of Keystone Light. Funny story. I was at Aldi and a guy had a case of Keystone Light. Don't know why. I didn't think about it, but I mean there has to be a reason. If they are, then they probably know how to make pure grain alcohol. So you go introduce yourself. You don't want to distill Keystone Light or any beer, by the way, from experience. Do not distill beer because it has, no matter even it's horrible beer, it has hops in it, and that hops distills out the herbal essence oils, and they are horrible. You cannot drink it. So if you want to meet somebody who distilled a whole case of Bush Light, I think it was, who thought it was a good idea, that was me. Don't do that. It's a really, really bad idea. All right, let me see what we got here. All right, so anybody else has any questions, go ahead and type them in. The longer or the more questions you have, the better we're going to do here. And so I told the story about the cat. Sorry to clap in your direction. I told the story about the cat because it's a creature that acts out of impulse, and the impulse is based on both learned behavior and instinct. And so that instinct of survival can act. And so people who are raised with an entitlement attitude, they feel entitled, will act differently than someone who doesn't feel entitled. They're going to react differently. And it's good to know those personalities. The guy at Aldi's was buying 2 cases of Corona. I saw that guy, but there was another guy that had Keystone or Keystone Light in his cart. I did see the big stack. They had a huge display of Corona at Aldi, which I thought was funny. Just saw a photo of someone leaving the package of teepee in a place of the beer on the beer aisle. Yeah, if you only got so many dollars, you gotta vote with your dollars. That's what you got to do. All right, so hello everybody who's just getting here. It looks like we got a good crowd, so we should get some good questions or good comments. I hope everybody is doing well. I am here for you, so I'm certain that everybody here has some questions or something they want to talk about, and so I'm here for you if you have any questions. I'm going to drink my water, get hydrated from chasing them pigs. So the thing is, we live on a spectrum, or we live in a spectrum of people who operate based on what they know and based on their moral proclivities and based on their their upbringing. And so it's to me it's just a little bit, and I understand. And John L. Monk messaged me and he said, this toilet paper humor, it's just gallows humor. People are trying to get by and they're afraid. And I said, I understand that, and I let a lot of that stuff pass. There are jokes and memes that have a barb in them that, to me, based on my own experience with human nature, are the predecessor of violence. And so I know you can make a joke about other people being stupid and going by toilet paper, but that, first of all, there's a underlying essence of crypto socialism there. And why I call it crypto socialism, because most of the people I see doing this declare themselves or call themselves conservative, capitalist, and in some cases, some areas they might be. But in reality, if they could make a law to stop you from doing something with your own money that you earn, they would. They are not freedom people at all. They're crypto socialists. And so when I see somebody like that making a joke or making a barbed point about people not being able to go out and buy things, or they're the people who are going to work to pass laws to stop you from using the hours and minutes and seconds of your life being represented by money, purchasing something that's for sale. They believe the government has the right to get in there and get into that interaction, which I believe that they don't. And so I have a huge problem with that because I can smell you. I can smell you when I know you're. And I've got a list here that I was going to do yesterday. I'm only going to do this if you guys want me to, but I got a list of personality types that you want to avoid in a crisis. I was planning on doing this for another episode, but if enough people want me to do this, I'll do it. But that's one of them. And so I'm people are thinking I'm a little bit hot-tempered about this whole making fun of people that are buying toilet paper and all that. And that's because I can smell the people that mean it. And if they had the power, they're little powerless tyrants. And if somebody gave them the power to stop other people from being free, they would do it. They would do it in a heartbeat. And so I'm always wary about those people. I've silenced probably or 30-day snoozed about 35 people in the last 2 days. But I've had probably that many start following me, so it doesn't matter to me. But I'm just saying, let's have a little, not just compassion and empathy, but let's start thinking about the society, the culture we have that breeds people who that's their instinct. Their instinct, if they hear something bad could happen, is to run out and buy toilet paper. I'm not going to make fun of them. I want them to go out and buy however much toilet paper they want. If it makes them feel better, if it calms them down, if it makes them not as panicked. Because none of us need toilet paper. Nobody's needed toilet paper ever. You may think that you did because your concept of need is twisted. But nobody's needed toilet paper. They didn't even have it here for a long time. All right, so I've been missing the post. Hello to Danielle. Any news on the car repairs? We don't have any car repairs yet. We got a kind of a loaner car from Danielle's sister, and now we're going to have to kind of spend some money to get it registered. It's like a 99 beater, but we're grateful for it. And so we haven't had any repairs yet, but we're hoping to get that done pretty quickly. Yeah, so two people wanted to hear the personalities. I may wait and do it on maybe another like tomorrow or something, because we're already probably, I don't know, 20 minutes into this. But like I said, if enough people wanted to see it, then I would do it. But if not, we'll wait and do it on another show. We got other things we can talk about. Hope everybody's doing good out there. If you are not in any distress, then praise the Lord. Hope everybody's doing well. I want to just tell everybody, I want to start doing these kind of regularly. And so if you think of questions during the day or things that you want to talk about or topics, then just write them down. And you can always put them in the comment section here. You can put them in the comment section on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, I really, 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 really need you to subscribe and say, and click that little bell icon that means that you want to be notified when I put up a new video. And then also like this video. All of these things are important for the algorithm that picks what other people get to see. And then put a comment on this video, and then tell me what you want me to talk about on other shows. So there's 3 people, but one of them was my wife. All right. We make our own kraut. That is absolutely correct. We call it kraut, but it's also medicine. It's the best medicine, sauerkraut. All right, I'm going to read these, but it's really a lot. It's a whole list. And I think I should probably do it on another show. I'm not trying to tease you. I'm just saying that we are 29 minutes into this. And if somebody tunes in on YouTube just to see this list, they're going to have to sit through 29 minutes of me lecturing people about why it's stupid to make fun of people buying toilet paper. Everyone here like. Okay, so we got 4 now. We call it medicine because it's good for you. It's a probiotic. There was like 18 people here a while ago, and now there's 9. And so it's becoming harder for me to do this list. All right, I'll do I'll do it. All right. Everybody go tell 3 people to come listen. How about just list off the personality types without going into detail? I didn't really list personality types. I list things that people would say that would allow you to determine whether or not what their personality type is, or whether or not you would want to be around this person or engage with, or that sort of decision making in a crisis. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Have TP. I bought a big pack 2 weeks ago. Excellent. I have food. I make kraut also. It's much better than store-bought. Absolutely true. All right, so I'm going to do this list. If I have my glasses. If I have my glasses, which I don't because I was chasing pigs. All right, I'm going to read it anyway. All right, number 1, and these are things that people say that ought to make you mark them. Mark them. And I've heard these just in the last week. Number 1, I don't need to prep. I just need bullets. Now, it is true that some people who are nitwits will say this as a joke. I would not say this as a joke, first of all, because I think it's a dumb joke. But I would also not say it because you may be in the vicinity of someone like me who immediately, which means if something bad was happening and you need help or you need something, you don't want to get within 300, 700, 800 yards of my place. Now, I wouldn't if I were you. If you ever said that, I don't need to prep, I just need bullets. What the person just said, let me translate it for you, is I am a violent psychopath who is only restrained by the thin veil of propriety. Nancy says, I like what you mentioned the other day regarding staying in our communities rather than run off someplace safe, that if we are doing reasonably well, it is important to be a help and provide support. That is absolutely what I believe. I would rather people stay stable. Stabilize your immediate area. The more people that can stabilize their area, that doesn't mean you don't need to leave if things get out of hand and get dangerous. I'm just saying it would be better if people learned how to stabilize. It would be better if people prepared so that they could stabilize their area. So point number 1, if somebody ever says, I don't need to prep, I just need bullets, that is a violent sociopath, probably a psychopath. And and this is my personal opinion, that person ought not be around very long. And they need to realize that the veil of propriety and law and morality goes 2 ways. So that would be a warning that I would have for anybody that ever said that around me. Number 2, I don't need to prep. I'll just come to your place. That is basically telling somebody that I have a right to not only, I have a lien on your productive capability and on your intellectual capacity. Now, again, some people say this as a joke, and I usually take it as a joke. And I have no problem with somebody who has something to offer or something who says, hey, we don't have a place to bug out to or something like that. I'm not saying I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying if you wanted to barter bullets, that's not what this point is, Cloyce. But so in this second one, I'm just going to come to your place. That's just basically a declaration that you have a lien on my productive capability, and you don't feel like you have to do anything. You don't have to provide for your family or take care of your family. You don't have to love your family as Christ loved the church. You just want to come and let somebody else do all that, and then you cruise in under the door at the last second. I don't. To me, you're the last person I would want out here. If I'm doing a triage at the front gate, you can keep walking, partner. All right. Here's one I've heard a lot. There's nothing I can do, or there's nothing I want to do. If I die, I die. Also, first of all, this person's a liar, because the people who sit there and go, well, there's nothing I can do. If something bad happens, I'm just going to die. They don't just die. They don't. They go to the government, or they go to the shelter, or they go hang on some policeman or fireman who's trying to help reasonable people, or they go to their neighbors and they expect help. All that is a justification for not acting. Nothing you can do. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I've lived 42 years, I'm older than that, 42 years on this earth, and I haven't had to go do anything. So if it happens, what am I going to do? If I die, I die. No, that whole YOLO attitude, don't show up at my place with that attitude. Here's the biggest one, and this has taken over the entire right wing as far as I'm concerned. Nothing bad will happen. They won't let it. They won't let it happen. Oh man, been hearing that one for 20 some years. And even in areas where bad things were happening, and bad things did happen, even Katrina and all that, nothing bad will happen. This whole Pollyanna idea that everything is as it has always been, right out of the scriptures. For this they are ignorant of. And it talks about how they were totally ignorant of the fact that things were totally different before the flood. That catastrophe changed the whole world. And catastrophe has changed the whole world quite a few times. The idea that they won't let something bad happen, that's idolatry. That's what that is. That's idolatry. All right, that was number 4. I'm already number 5. This didn't take, please refer to the Wick Omnibus. That's right. Everybody should read it. So we're on number 4, but since somebody brought it up and it wasn't me, this is a book you need to read. Upside down. Don't read it upside down. It's probably backwards to you. The Wick Omnibus. W-I-C-K. It is a big book, but it's a great story, and there's tons of the philosophy that I'm talking about in this book. And this is a slow motion systemic breakdown, kind of like what's starting to happen right now. All right, number 5. Ding, 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 ding. I'll be all right. God will protect me. Now, I'm a Christian, and I absolutely believe that God works in my best interest. What happens is a lot of Christians who don't know how to read have read scriptures like Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and that's all they read. They didn't read the context of Philippians where he's talking about suffering. That's what I can do. All these things I can suffer through Christ who strengthens me. They've never read the rest of that chapter or the rest of that segment. The idea that somehow you are a special little snowflake walking through life because of your professed belief in God, and somehow nothing bad is going to happen to you. Also, somebody when I bad, I'm not talking about spiritually bad. I'm talking about physically bad. Like somehow you are. True story. I was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, speaking at some southern Pennsylvania college or something like that. I don't remember where it was. Long time ago. And I was talking about Christians being persecuted in China, and Christians being persecuted in Muslim countries and all that kind of stuff. And this lady stood up, and she was as charismatic as can be, and she was just, oh, the Lord protects me. I don't have to worry about anything. The Lord even picks out my furniture. Yeah. The other day I was walking by, and I just knew I needed a new couch. And I was walking by, and I saw this blue couch, and the Lord told me that blue couch was mine. And so if the Lord's picking out my furniture, I don't need to worry about anything. And I said, well, that's pretty interesting that the Lord's picking out your furniture while other people who profess the name of Christ are coming out of the baptismal waters and being shot in the head. And she said this, she said, maybe they aren't very good Christians. So I know some of you on YouTube and some of you reading this, you're not religious people, and that's fine. And I am a Christian, and that is an appalling, enraging, false Christianity that really, really bugs me. And so those are the ones. I'll go back through them really, really quickly. I don't need to prep. I just need bullets, and not for barter. They mean I will go take something, whatever I need. And I have other stories I can tell along that line. I don't need to prep. I'll just come to your place. There's nothing you can do. If I die, I die. Nothing bad will happen. They won't let it. I'll be all right. God will protect me. And so those are, sorry about that. Sorry for you people who have to hear my notifications come in, but this is live on Facebook. All right. Love to hear your comments. Love to hear your questions. If you're on YouTube, again, subscribe, hit the bell, like, comment, watch the whole video, and share. Share these things. I'm really surprised. I've done about 5 or 6 of these videos in a row that more people aren't sharing them. I guess I'm not really surprised. Nobody wants to hear from me when everything's fine, because I live off grid and I do all this stuff, and I've lived for 2 months without going or longer not going to town. And so people don't want to hear that stuff when there's nothing wrong, and then when something bad happens, I'm the last person they want to talk to, because I was telling them this all along. Local and grassroots disaster assistance was operating immediately following Sandy at Union Beach in New Jersey, which is where Sandy hit land here. There were tents and food provisions along with heat and social support before the standard recovery organizations got there. Neighbors stepping up, helping those experiencing some of the worst impacts of that hurricane. Good report. Thank you. And so, again, and also if you're watching this on Facebook and it doesn't say live up here somewhere, then it's not live. But you can still put your questions and comments on this video. I will see them. Please make suggestions if you have another topic you want me to talk about on another day. And I think we're going to shut this one down because it's becoming my bedtime. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you all for being here. Another episode of Michael Bunker, Reasonable Man. We'll talk to you all soon.